God's mysterious ways, how He responds to your prayers. Have you ever prayed with all your heart and felt like God didn't respond the way you wanted? Do you find yourself asking, "Lord, why didn't you answer my prayer the way I thought you would?" I understand your frustration, my child. But let me remind you, I respond to your prayers in ways that are better than you can imagine. Sometimes the answer you seek comes in ways that might surprise you. But trust me, I am answering, always, in the best way for your life. You see, I have plans for you, plans that are greater than what you can imagine. In Isaiah 55:8-9, I remind you, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." When you pray, I hear you, and I answer, but I ask you to trust in my timing and my wisdom. I'm guiding you even when you don't see the full picture. When you pray for something, it's often because you believe it will solve your problems or bring peace into your life. But sometimes I respond in ways that don't match your expectations. I may say no, or wait. But those responses are not denials. They are part of a bigger, better plan. I see the bigger picture, my child. I know what you truly need, and I work behind the scenes to bring it to you, at the right time and in the right way. Think about Paul, who prayed over and over for the removal of a thorn in his flesh, 2 Corinthians 12:7-9. He asked me 3 times to take it away, but my response was, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Paul didn't get the answer he expected, but in the end, he realized that the weakness he endured brought him closer to me. Sometimes the answers you're looking for aren't what you need. What you need is the deeper trust and strength that only comes from me. The unexpected timing. Trusting God's perfect timing in prayer. You may pray and expect immediate answers, but I want you to understand something important. I am not bound by time. I work in the right timing for your life, even when it doesn't align with your desires or expectations. My timing is perfect, and you can trust that everything will unfold at the right moment. Think about the story of Lazarus, John 11:1-44. Mary and Martha were devastated when their brother fell ill, and they sent word to me, asking for help. But I delayed my arrival. By the time I came, Lazarus had died, and they were grieving. But I had a bigger plan. I raised Lazarus from the dead, showing my power and glory. The delay was not because I didn't care. It was because I wanted to show them and others that my power over life and death is unmatched. In the same way, my child, when you feel like I'm not answering quickly enough, trust that I am working things out behind the scenes. My delay is not a denial. It's a part of my perfect plan for your growth and for the good of others. God responds in ways that build faith. Another unexpected way I respond to prayers is by answering in ways that build your faith. I know that your faith is strengthened through trials, struggles, and waiting periods. When you pray, I am not just answering your request. I am shaping your heart, building your trust in me, and helping you grow spiritually. Think of the disciples in the storm, Matthew 8:23-27. They were terrified when the storm hit, but I was with them in the boat. I calmed the storm, but I also used that moment to teach them a lesson about faith and trust. Your faith grows strongest in the midst of the storms, not in the calm. When you face challenges, my child, remember that I am with you, and the growth you experience in these times will be worth more than anything you could imagine. Let me share the story of Jessica, a woman from New York who prayed for years for a breakthrough in her career. She had faced so many setbacks, and at times, she felt like giving up. She prayed for guidance and for a new opportunity, but for years it felt like nothing was changing. But then, unexpectedly, a job opportunity came that was beyond what she had dreamed of, an opportunity that aligned perfectly with her skills and passions. Her faith had been tested, but through the process, she had learned to trust God's timing and had grown stronger in her belief. Jessica's story is proof that God's responses may be delayed, but they are always worth the wait. When you keep trusting, even when things seem impossible, God will show up in ways that surprise you and change your life. So, my beloved, how do you recognize God's responses when they're unexpected? You trust me, you wait on my perfect timing, and you know that I am working for your good in every moment. Now we'll dive deeper into how to recognize God's responses in your life, how to find peace when the answer is no or wait, and how to trust that God's answers are always designed to bring you closer to His purpose for you. Recognizing God's response, embracing the unexpected answers. Do you ever find yourself feeling anxious or confused when you don't get the answers you want from God? I understand your feelings, my child. When your prayers feel unanswered or when the response isn't what you expected, it can be difficult to trust that I am at work. But I want you to know this. I am always listening, always answering, and I am always working for your good. The answers I give may not be what you expected, but they are always perfect, according to my greater plan for you. Trust that I am guiding you, even when the answer is no or wait. In Jeremiah 29:11, I tell you, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Every response I give, whether it's yes, no, or wait, is part of a good plan I have for your life. Trust me, and you will see that my answers always lead to something better than you could imagine. Recognizing the no. Answer. When God's denial is a blessing, the hardest answer to receive is often no. When you ask me for something and I say no, it can be painful, and it's easy to feel disappointed or rejected. But my child, I want you to know that when I say no, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I have something better for you. Sometimes, you ask for something that isn't good for you, and I, as your loving Father, protect you from it. The no is a blessing in disguise, because I see what lies ahead, and I know what is best for you. Consider the story of David, a man after my own heart. He wanted to build a temple for the Ark of the Covenant, but I told him, no. 1 Chronicles 28:3. David's desire to honor me was pure, but I had a different plan. Instead, I chose his son, Solomon, to build the temple. David could have been upset by my no, but instead, he trusted me and continued to serve me faithfully. David's no led him to experience a deeper trust in my sovereignty, and through that trust, he found joy in knowing that my plans were greater than his own. My child, when I say no to your prayers, it's not rejection, it's redirection. I am leading you to something better, something that will bring you more peace and fulfillment. Trust that my no is a loving response designed to protect you and guide you toward my perfect plan. Another difficult response I give is the answer of wait. Waiting can feel like you're stuck or that I'm ignoring you, But in reality, waiting is a time of growth. It's in the waiting that your faith is tested, your patience is developed, and your trust in me deepens. I ask you to wait not to frustrate you, but to prepare you for what I have in store. Think about Abraham and Sarah, who waited for years for the child I promised them. Genesis 12, 1 through 7, 17, 15 through 19. Their wait wasn't easy, and they made mistakes along the way. But through the waiting, their faith was strengthened. When the time came, I blessed them with Isaac, and they knew that the wait had been worth it. The wait prepared them, refined them, and ultimately fulfilled my promise in the most perfect way. My child, I know the waiting is hard, but waiting is not wasted time. It is in the waiting that you learn to trust my timing, knowing that I am preparing you for the best. When the time is right, I will bring about the answer to your prayers in a way that will surpass your expectations. When God says yes in unexpected ways. Sometimes, when I say yes to your prayer, the answer may come in a way you didn't expect. I don't always give you what you ask for in the way you think you want it, but my yes is always a good gift. My yes often brings a new perspective, new challenges, or new opportunities you didn't foresee, but it is always part of my greater plan for your life. Think about the story of the Israelites. They prayed for freedom from slavery, and when I answered their prayer, it wasn't in the way they imagined. I led them through the wilderness, and the journey was long and difficult, but it was in the wilderness that I prepared them for the promised land. Their yes wasn't a simple one. It came with tests, trials, and lessons along the way. My child, when I say yes, it may come with challenges or changes you didn't expect. But trust that the yes is my perfect answer, leading you toward growth, blessing, and the fulfillment of my promises. Embrace my yes, even when it comes in unexpected ways, and know that I am with you every step of the way. Finding peace in God's no and wait. When I say no or wait, finding peace can be difficult. But the key to peace is trusting that I am in control and that my answers are always for your good. The peace you seek is not found in the answers you receive, but in knowing that I am sovereign and I am working for your good. When you trust that my answers are filled with love, you will experience peace even in the waiting and the uncertainty. In Philippians 4:6-7, I remind you, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. When you bring your requests to me, trust that I will respond in ways that bring you peace and joy, even when the answers are unexpected. My child, peace is not found in the answer itself, but in trusting the one who answers. When you trust me, you can rest, knowing that I am working all things together for your good. Let me share with you the story of James, a man who prayed fervently for a career breakthrough. He faced many setbacks and disappointments, and at one point, he was ready to give up on his dreams. But he decided to trust God's timing and to keep moving forward. One day, out of the blue, he was offered a job in a field he had never considered before, one that aligned perfectly with his skills and passions. James realized that God's wait and no had led him to a place he never expected, but it was exactly where he needed to be. He had to trust God's response, and in doing so, he experienced peace and fulfillment in a new way. So, my beloved, How do you recognize God's responses when they're unexpected? You trust me. You wait on my perfect timing, and you know that I am working for your good in every moment. We'll explore how to embrace the process of transformation through unanswered prayers and how to find joy and peace in the journey, trusting that God's responses are always working toward a greater purpose for your life. Transformation through God's answers. Embracing the unexpected. Have you ever struggled with unanswered prayers and found it hard to accept God's no or wait? Do you sometimes wonder, why is this taking so long, Lord? I understand your struggle, my child, but I want to remind you, my answers to your prayers are not just about meeting your immediate needs. They are about shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for what I have in store. When you trust in my responses, whether yes, no, or wait, you allow me to transform your heart and your life. Every answer I give is part of a bigger story that I am writing for you. Trust me with the process, and you will experience joy and peace like never before. In Romans 8:28 I say, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Every answer I give is for your good and my glory, even when it feels confusing or painful. Trust in my responses, and you will see that they lead to a transformation that aligns you more closely with my will. God's no leads to greater dependence on him. When I say no to your prayer, it may feel like a rejection, but I promise you, it is an invitation to grow in your faith and dependence on me. I know that in your weakness my strength is made perfect, and when I deny something you want, it is often because I know you need to rely on me more deeply. The no is a moment of refining, where you can learn to trust my wisdom and embrace my greater plan. Think of Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers, Genesis 37. He prayed for deliverance, but for many years he faced hardship, betrayal, and prison. Joseph's prayers were not answered in the way he wanted, but each no he received from his circumstances was a step toward his destiny. God used those years of suffering to prepare Joseph for a position of leadership in Egypt, where he would later save many lives, including the lives of his own family. God's no was not rejection, it was redirection, leading Joseph toward a greater purpose. My child, when I say no to your prayers, trust that I am shaping you and preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. The no may be painful in the moment, but it will lead you to a place of deeper dependence on me and greater fulfillment in the long run. The growth in the wait. Waiting is often the hardest part of prayer. It's easy to feel forgotten or ignored during the waiting period, but I want to remind you, waiting is not wasted time. It is a time of preparation. I am working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, opening doors, and preparing your heart for the blessings I am about to bring into your life. Your faith is growing, your patience is developing, and your trust in my timing is deepening. Think about the story of Hannah, 1 Samuel 1. She prayed for a child for many years, and each year the longing grew stronger. But Hannah didn't give up. She continued to trust me, even in her waiting. When the time was right, I answered her prayer and gave her Samuel. And through that child, she was able to dedicate her life even more fully to me. The waiting period in prayer is a time when I am preparing you, refining your character, and teaching you to trust in my timing. What you cannot see during the wait is the work I am doing within you. Trust that my delays are not denials. They are opportunities for growth and transformation. One of the greatest transformations that come from unanswered prayers is the ability to embrace my sovereignty. When you let go of your need to control the outcome and trust that I know what is best for you, you open the door to a peace that transcends understanding. In Philippians 4:6-7, I remind you, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. My child, when you trust me with your requests, I will give you peace, not because you get the answer you expect, but because you trust that I am working all things together for your good. When you trust in my sovereignty, you can find peace even in the unknown, knowing that I am in control of all things and that I am leading you exactly where you need to be. The peace you seek is not found in having all the answers. It's found in trusting the one who holds all the answers. One of the most beautiful aspects of my responses to prayer is the unseen work I do behind the scenes. There are times when you pray, and it feels like nothing is happening, but I want you to know that I am always working, even when you can't see it. I am preparing you, aligning circumstances and orchestrating events that will lead to the perfect outcome for your life. Think about the story of Esther, who prayed for deliverance for her people. She had no idea how her actions would save the lives of many, but God was working in the background, arranging every detail, even though she couldn't see it at the time. God's unseen work is just as powerful as the visible answers to your prayers. My child, when you don't see the immediate answer to your prayer, trust that I am working behind the scenes. I am orchestrating events, preparing your heart, and aligning the pieces of your life in ways that will bring about my perfect will. So, my beloved, how do you embrace the unexpected responses to your prayers? You trust my perfect timing, you let go of control, and you embrace the process of transformation. Trust that my answers, whether yes, no, or wait, are all designed to shape you into the person I've called you to be. If this message has touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this encouragement, and subscribe to God's sacred voice for more messages that will help you grow in faith and trust in God's perfect plan. Remember, my child, every prayer you pray is answered in my perfect way, and the peace you seek is found in trusting me. Let go of your own expectations, and trust that I am leading you toward something far greater than you can imagine.